Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. I am Coach Julia, and today I just have a quick how-to for you. I'm going to be showing you how to apply skate tape. Now, skate tape, for those of you who are not familiar with this, is a stretchy, flexible, waterproof tape that is designed to help protect the toes and the polish on your skates. Now, if you are heading into competition, you want your skates to look as nice as possible. So you have a couple of options. You can wear over-the-boot tights. Not all coaches like that, but over-the-boot tights are one option. You can also polish your skates, and I have a whole video on how to do that polish, how to apply polish properly. Or you can use skate tape. Now, I recommend skate tape if you have smaller patches that you need to protect. Maybe you do a really low lunge like I do and the inside of your skate is wearing down. The other thing the skate tape is good for is protecting your toes between competitions. If you're doing higher level jumps and spins, those toes often get very banged up, and so this tape can protect your leather from getting too chewed up so that you can pull that tape off and your skates will look nice during competition. So all you're going to need is some skate tape and some scissors. Now, I am going to put a link down below to where you can purchase some skate tape. It comes in white, black, and a beige tan color. Get yourself some tape and some scissors and let's get started. The areas I'm going to be focusing on today are this inside patch. If you can see here, the polish has worn off a little bit, and the inside toe area. I do a very deep lunge and I tend to wear off the leather on the inside of my skate. I also have a couple little nicks here, and now you expect your skates are going to get beat up, but since these are still fairly in good shape, I want to protect this leather as long as possible. See, on the outside the leather is still looking good. I'm missing a little bit here, but mostly I'm going to be focusing on the inside. You can cover your entire skate in skate tape. I have a friend who actually uses really fun, loud colors, and her boot looks like crazy animal print and all kinds of stuff, and she uses skate tape to do that, but I am just going to protect these inside pieces. So I'm going to start with this here. I'm going to cut myself a piece. And let's see, I actually want to make it so that this side matches up with this seam. So I'm going to cover the top section, and then I'm going to cut it right along here, carefully not to get any wrinkles, so it matches up with the seam. That way I don't have to worry about it going over the laces. Now you can see it's not the exact same color. I'm not worried about that. I just want to protect my skate. If I wanted it the exact same color, I would have to polish it, and maybe I'll do that before a competition. Now I'm going to use a second piece of tape, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it on the same spot, slightly overlapped. I'm going to smooth it down as I go. Try to keep as few wrinkles in there as possible. And then when I get to that seam, I'm just going to once again cut it right along the stitch line where my laces go. So now you can see that inside is protected, nice and smooth, it's overlapped. And that'll keep my skating, when I rub against the ice, from wearing down on the leather underneath the polish. Now let's move over to the toe. The toe is more complicated because it's curved, and so that tape has to wrap around the toe a little bit more. So I'm going to start by evening out this little piece of tape here so I have a nice crisp edge. And I'm going to tuck it right in here underneath so that it fills in that little gap between the sole and the leather. Just push it out there. So you can see I'm really trying to get it tucked in right here. So I'm trying to tuck it in right between the leather and the sole so there isn't a little gap there. I'm going to pull it nice and tight all the way around the toe. And then I'm going to push it up from the sole up to try to get rid of any bubbles or wrinkles. So this is a little bit easier. We're going to come over to the toe where it's really curved. You can see that I'm going to have to kind of contour the tape if I don't want a whole bunch of wrinkles. So again, I'm lining it up with the sole of the skate, pulling it really tight across. So I'm actually kind of stretching it, stretching the tape as I apply it to the boot. Okay, so you can see there's definitely some wrinkles in here that I need to deal with. So I'm going to lift this top up, and again, starting at the bottom, I'm going to push those bubbles out and push it up towards the top of the tape. So now we have this little, you can see that the tape is still kind of sticking up here on the top. So if you're not careful, you'll have some really big wrinkles. You can just smash it down there, and that does not look good, right? So we want to be very careful. We're going to push straight up the front of the tape so that that gets nice and flat, and just move around. And as I move around, I'm kind of finessing it. So you can see we do have a few little wrinkles here at the toe, and so to deal with that, I'm actually going to cover that with another piece of tape. So I start by lining my tape up with my seam. So I'm going to line the tape up with that seam right there. I'm going to stretch it and pull it down towards the sole on each side. Stretch and pull down. That stretching is going to help me shape that tape around. If you apply the tape without stretching, then you're going to have more wrinkles. Okay, so I'm just smoothing it out. You can see that new piece of tape has completely covered the wrinkles on that lower piece of tape. Now I have a little bit of spillover, so I'm just going to trim that. Okay, so I've trimmed that piece of tape, and I'm just going to smooth it down there into the sole. Nice and smooth, nice and seamless. All right, look how nice that looks. My skate is all protected and still looks nice and clean and professional. So now I'm going to come over to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to trim that tape in line with the sole. Push out any little wrinkles or bubbles, which should be easier. Like I said, if you stretch the tape as you apply it, it is easier to get those wrinkles and bubbles out. So here is my completed skate. I could fill in more if I wanted, but I'm not going to worry about it. I've done exactly what I wanted, which is protect that worn out area where my ankle bone rubs against the ice when I lunge. I've protected the inside of my skate. Again, I wear this out when I lunge. And the toes are now protected so that I'm not nicking them and banging into them when I land jumps and pull out of spins and that kind of thing. So there is the toe all done. You can see it's not the exact same color. It's not, this is from Harlick Holiday Tan. This is from the Skate Tape Company. That's their beige. But from a distance, when you're out on the ice, you really don't see that. And if I was going to be really particular about it, I could always peel this off before competition, and then I could polish it. So just for reference, there's this tiny little worn out area on the inside of this skate, and I'm going to polish it, and you can see how nice and clean that looks. So I'm going to use Harlick's Skate Polish. It's their premium boot dressing for smooth leather. It is in their custom holiday tan shade. I already gave it a nice big shake. I'm just applying it with a little artist's brush. Okay, so I do have a whole video on this. If you want to know how to do it, watch that video. So this is the little patch I'm going to do, and I'm just going to use a thin amount of polish. If you use a lot of polish, it gets bubbly, it gets streaky. So you want to apply just thin amounts at a time. So I've come back about 5 minutes later, and you can see that the boot that I applied the boot polish on is really drying very closely. It's not 100% dry yet, but you can see that it's really starting to come together, so it's the same color as the rest of the boot. But as I mentioned before, all these little nicks and dings are still not protected. So your toes are going to still end up getting beat up over time. That leather becomes worn down. And over time, as you polish it, it doesn't look as nice and clean. These skates are in really good condition, but as you can see, they're going to get worn down. So even with that polish, they're going to start getting all these kinds of nicks and dings. With the boot that's been skate taped, that toe is well protected. My recommendation for everyday use is skate tape. Then you can peel that off, do any extra polishing you need, and you are ready for your big competition day. All right, skaters, I hope you found this video interesting, informative. Maybe it'll help you protect your skates in the future. If you enjoyed it, then please do give us that thumbs up. And of course, I always look forward to reading all your comments in the section down below. If you haven't done so yet, then hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can see all my videos when they come out. Happy skating, and I'll see you next time.